All right, we are back. I love it. I love it. I love Adult Swim is my spirit animal. I miss it. But yeah, we are back. We have the Daredevil Born Again trailer dropped today, and we've been itching for this series since since the announcement. Charlie Cox is back. We know John Barenthal is back. It's just as bloody. It looks just as brutal. We're in for a ride. We are in for a ride. So we're gonna check. We're gonna check out the trailer right now, and we're gonna give her a little our background, see what this is all about. You know. So
open your eyes.
Yeah, open your eyes. So here we go.
I kind of want to see how he does.
Thank you for finding the time. Well, I will admit, it's not entirely unpleasant seeing you again. A lot of time has passed. By the look of it, you've come up in the world.
I could say the same about you.
The mayor serves his city. I can see you're not entirely convinced.
Can you blame me? I can't shake the feeling that you're gaming the system.
Why did you stop being a vigilante?
The line was crossed.
It's hard to come to terms with a violent nature. Hating the power it has over us.
This city can't go unchecked.
Sometimes peace needs to be broken. And chaos must reign.
Am I putting the hatchet down?
Richard.
I was raised to believe in grace. But I was also raised to believe in retribution.
Ho, 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 ho.
It's glorious.
That's that's gonna be good. That is gonna be good. Y'all don't understand. For those who are watching, y'all don't understand. Daredevil, when it came out on Netflix, was just one of those shows that were like, you got it. Once we got into it, we got into it.
When perfect story meets perfect casting.
It was dark. It was gritty. The casting was on point. Vincent D'Onofrio once again.
If I don't get When I Was a Boy montage at least one time during this entire run, I'm gonna be mad. We got monologues from this man.
The intensity, the just we've seen him in the original run of Daredevil. We've seen him in Hawkeye. We've seen him in Echo. He is giving you, and don't rest in peace to Michael Clark Duncan, who who played Kingpin for the Daredevil film that starred Ben Affleck, and he was good too. Because he's a big guy. He's a big guy, and he has this imposing presence. But
it was a great Kingpin. But as far as the Ben Affleck Daredevil, let's be honest, it's good and terrible.
Yeah. Suit wasn't bad at the time, but
the suit was actually great. But his you try to do the radar senses like an actual airport terminal, and I'm just like, yeah. And then you do this whole water dance thing like we're watching a silent film.
So yeah, this Vincent D'Onofrio, number one, is a masterclass in intensity of being in the presence of someone who has this quiet rage.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know what's going to happen next. People like him and Giancarlo Esposito, these type of actors who have a way of embodying villain.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Making the villain that we see come to life.
Yeah.
It's like the villain that we read about or just imagine in our heads how they sound. And it's amazing that, like you said, between Mr. DeFornio, Mr. Esposito, Jack Nicholson, Heath Ledger, Barry Keaton, who actually played the Riddler in the Matt Reeves Batman. Again, you've given us. I mean, I keep going down the list, but y'all get the point I'm making here.
Oh no, Paul Dano.
Yeah, Paul Dano.
Oh,
but, but it's like you guys get the idea of what I'm saying. It's just that they embody these villains to where it's like, oh, this is believable. I mean, almost to where we've seen other, I'm wearing Superman gear, Superman gear reviewing a Daredevil trilogy. I know, strange. I didn't pick this. I didn't know it was going to come out today. But what I'm getting at is it embodies the characters, and of course, Charlie Cox as well. The brutality, because Chris, you hit on this. The god dang brutality is back, and I don't know if I don't know if the sound guy was from Alien Romulus or not, but he's like, oh, I'm amping up the sound on this one. Every snap, tear.
I've seen somebody in a post. Oh, go ahead.
I mean, to go to what you were just about to say, I think it's definitely because you think about him as a blind character, so it makes sense that they're amping it up because he's blind is how he's experiencing, especially when you saw how the blood was coming down along with the heartbeat. You know what I'm saying? And like you guys were saying, Vincent D'Onofrio, and now he's got the law in his hands as well. Because now he's taking over as mayor. Oh man! First of all, life imitating art, imitating life.
in so many ways.
I mean, listen.
And and I gotta say, somebody in the post, I seen somebody in the post say Matt Murdock is back. I'm like, yeah, pretty much. Matt Murdock is especially back. There's a scene that they have in here where he's not even in costume. He's got his face covered up, but he's got somebody pinned up basically in a wall, and he comes down on his knee, and you hear the leg break, and I'm just like, I'm rubbing my own leg because you hear the crack.
the emphasis of the sound,
Yep.
And I'm just like,
then there's another one with the arm too.
Yeah. And you see it.
Arm. It's like, nah, they're definitely right.
But the beauty of it all, it's the Devil's Reign story.
Yes.
For all those, I don't want to pull a Bo right now because Bo's in his Aubrey feelings, but I would say this before Daredevil Born Again. If you want to know some context of where they're going with this, please go back to the 2021-2022 Daredevil Devil's Reign.
Yeah.
First off, Zeb Wells, amazing writer, and gave us, I want to say it was a 16, 17 issue run. I could be a little bit off the numbers, those numbers. But again, homework, especially for Muse. Muse. If you don't know who Muse is in the Daredevil world, he gave Daredevil hell. I'm gonna be honest with you. His ability, and I'm not gonna go.
This is one of those. So Muse is a character, and I've read Devil's Reign. Muse is a character, and I said it then. I said this stuff hasn't been this dark since what? Probably the Frank Miller run.
Yeah.
So they were really going. And how long ago was that? So now here we are. We're getting introduced to a new character. Well, not new to comic book readers, but
I'm sorry. 6-issue run, and it was Chip Zdarsky. Sorry.
Yeah.
I gave the wrong one.
And we get a new character who has a very specific type of abilities, and this is in Muse. And Muse, his body acts like a vortex, which can absorb sensory information. So that information in itself, Daredevil has a problem with, because he uses like an echolocation. And if you
Mhm.
can't pick up someone who sound, sight, smell, touch, you can't sense that as he normally senses when he's fighting. That's a perfect storm.
At the same, I mean, it's his kryptonite in human form, and on top of that, he has his speed. They didn't call it superhuman, but he has above average strength and speed.
Yes.
So
yes.
I'm like, at the same time, he looks at murder like an art form. Like, he kind of
that's how we were introduced to him.
Yeah. The way he turned around and did a certain character. Yeah. Well, I'm sorry. What'd you say, Lanny?
Was that the one that draws in blood?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
hand-to-hand combatant, pretty agile, can actually climb walls. Like Peter Parker. So it's Obi's like, oh, it's perfect. He's clapping like, oh, it's perfect. No. But I am looking forward to seeing this because not only do we get news, but we're finally getting White Tiger being brought into the MCU universe. Which, number one, I need to say it. The actor who plays, this is how long ago this was filmed. Kmar de los Reyes, who is the actor who plays White Tiger, he actually passed away. From cancer. Back in 2023.
Yeah.
So that's how long ago this was. So, we're not sure how long he's going to be in this series as that character, but that mantle does get passed along.
Right.
It does get passed along. So there's those type of things. So it does get passed along with the characters. I don't know if they're going to do that in this show or how they're going to address any of that, but yeah. So if people that's wondering who White Tiger is,
again, another formidable person. I mean, for let's be honest, Marvel / Disney giving Daredevil Born Again the biggest episode load for their first run. That's saying a lot. And at the same time, you're giving us two villains, well, technically three, but with Devil's Reign, and I was trying to point this out to other people. Devil's Reign is a nice way to introduce the Defenders back into
very nice. Very nice. That's the perfect way. If you want to jump on, is there any jump on point? That's it. Is that story arc?
Yeah, I mean, outside of, and I was trying to point this out to somebody else, like, well, I mean, you might get. I said no. You could include Jessica Jones can make an appearance. Iron Fist can make an appearance. Cage, because of Devil's Reign, he has to make an appearance if you're going to follow the story. So you can include everybody back and still make it work. Although, old Mike Coulter has been awfully radio silent. That's all I'm saying.
Been very quiet lately. So White Tiger, his powers are. When I was introduced to White Tiger, I'm like, oh, he's like Black Panther, but for the Latino community. Except his powers come from an amulet that you see for a blink and you miss it scene in the trailer. It's an amulet that he wears, and it gets passed down. I'm not sure which character of the White Tiger he's playing because it kind of gets passed down. He passes that amulet off to his sister,
right?
Which is Ava. So and there has been rumblings for quite a while that they were going to introduce the White Tiger and that Ava would be eventually would have the amulet, because we're walking into New Avengers territory at this point, or Young Avengers territory.
Dang it, I just thought about that. You could also have the Fantastic Four pop in too.
You could,
and Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So
I would. How about Fantastic Four? Spider-Man
just from
makes sense.
The Devil's Reign.
The Devil's Reign story is where the Fantastic Four and Spider-Man could possibly, which we know with the MCU, they're already protecting Fantastic Four. It already has a set starting point in the sacred timeline. So I'm not even thinking that way. Spider-Man, though, Tom outside of getting married to Zendaya, he been quiet. So I'm not saying he can pop up.
He's been taking classes.
Not say Princess Zendaya's name wrong. Soon to be Queen Zendaya. Stop playing.
Oh, Zendaya. My apologies. My apologies.
But yeah, it's definitely looking like something worthy of. God, I can't believe it's going to be March 4th.
Man,
I cannot believe it's going to be March 4th.
Coming out too, so we're about to be eating again.
Yep.
Oh, so the schedule for Marvel is a very good one.
Ooh.
I think throughout the year, it's probably 3 months we will not have anything released. We've got something every other month.
Damn.
Yep. So
and I think it's by, even though they scaled back, they scaled back what they're releasing as far as Disney Plus. You know, they still have stuff coming out for Disney Plus, but between Disney Plus and between the films, they have stuff just rolling.
It just makes you wonder, is this Marvel's way of saying apologies? Apologies for the fast food that we were throwing out, but we took our time and cooked it properly, and Gordon Ramsay helped us out.
This is literally what I talked about with Jay and ours. Literally.
So it's and speaking, when you mentioned Luke Cage from the Devil's Reign arc, we also get, and I mentioned it before we did the trailer, John Barathal's back as Punisher. And
oh yes,
good old Frank Castle.
Listen,
Frank Bent did some stuff, and apparently that haircut screamed. I have been through some stuff since the last time y'all saw me. And Jigsaw kind of put me through the ringer. At the same time, if I don't hear at least one, and I know this is gonna be per se, but I've always wanted to hear, judge, jury, and executioner. I just want to hear it. Although it's gonna be kind of hard to do it in Devil's Reign because Frank's gonna have a lot of attention. I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Yeah.
I'll leave it at that because in Devil's Reign story, Punisher gets a lot of attention.
I mean, you figure with Fisk now being the mayor of New York City, you got to see. I really want to see where everything falls as far as the MCU timeline, because last time we seen Daredevil, he was copulating with She-Hulk.
Yep.
In his yellow and red uniform. So I'm wondering if it falls where it falls in that timeline. Just so I can get a kind of gauge it, so it's just not tossed all over the place. And I hope it's not like a throwaway. I really hope it's not. But there's a scene where you see him looking at previous helmets, and that's one of the helmets.
Yeah.
So, and for those who have seen She-Hulk and said that was the walk of shame, no, that was not a shameful walk.
That's bringing it up.
Yeah, he was completely fine. Broad daylight, no boots. He didn't. That was a proud walk. So I'm definitely looking forward to this one. To see Muse on the screen, to see Kingpin coming back, seeing Frank back on the screen. I think this is opening the door to the Marvel Netflix shows, because everyone has expressed they want to come back and play their characters. Every last one. They're just like, no, we have stories to finish. Let's be honest. The Marvel Netflix shows were really good. Sans that one.
Even that fool said he wanted to come back.
Yeah.
So,
and I'm willing to. The only way that door is open, in my opinion, the only way that door can be opened is take a page out of Keanu Reeves' playbook and go train.
I'm like, I'm gonna need you to go. I'm gonna be honest. I'll be petty about it. I need you to go the gauntlet, sir. Call Donnie Yen, call Sammo Hung, ask Jet Li if he would give you some pointers, and then and only then, once Jackie Chan validates you, then we can talk about your You gotta go. You have to go through the 5 masters. I'm gonna treat you like the 7 chambers of the 11 chambers of Shaolin. Go through the 5 grand masters first, and then once you're validated, cool, you can come on back. Because how you gonna let Misty Knight and Colleen Wing outdo you on martial arts, sir?
Not that we weren't bad. They were fantastic.
No, we were not mad at all, but just saying.
So, Laney, what'd you think out of seeing just the snippet for 2 minutes? It seemed like we got a lot to chew
on. Listen, one of the things I really am interested in seeing is the economy of seeing Matt Murdock meet Daredevil again, because you feel like at the beginning of the trailer that he doesn't feel like Daredevil.
Right.
He's put it down and you can see the misstep. And as the trailer goes on, you kind of see those two start to part ways. And at the very end, when you see both of them screamed at the same time, it starts to feel like, okay, they're meeting each other. I want to see that kind of character development that we should have gotten when we had Infinity War with Hulk and Bruce Banner. And we could have gotten that, but then all of a sudden it was all good in Endgame. So like watching that kind of storytelling is exciting to me. I actually want to read the comics that you're talking about because I actually thought it was actually based on the Born Again comic. I know some elements, I've heard some elements from that were in season 3s from Netflix, but then also that they brought out, and I feel like you don't want to give the bees away, so just keep on holding it, okay?
That's why I grabbed my water. I'm like, not yet.
My son is in my left. My son was in my left hand. That's why I was like,
But yeah, I mean, I'm definitely excited about that. I also like the fact that Disney is keeping up its basically rated R brand with this. That they're not watering this shit down, because that would be crazy if we did a backwards of like, yo, they gave us Deadpool 3, and then they go backwards to give us a venomous kind of thought process. So seeing the Mouse House embrace the rated R, to me, I'll take it.
Yeah,
because that's the only way they could have done it. It's the only. I mean, to tell the Daredevil story.
10 years ago, they wouldn't have done that. If they would have brought Daredevil, they still wouldn't have done it like that. 10 years ago, absolutely not.
Well, I don't think we would ever get the same story, because Daredevil's story has never been blue sky. I always say blue sky, not because of the app, because it is a wonderful alternative to the dark place. But a lot of hero storytelling has always been blue sky. It's been action, it's been violence, but it's never been dark. And DC for the longest time used to be called Dark Comics, although only because every story outside Superman was quote unquote dark.
I remember their run of Marvel Knights, which was absolutely great.
Yeah. So that's the only way but that's the only way they can tell, not to cut you off, Chris, but that's the only way they can tell a Daredevil story, is that you have to tell it dark, gritty, and the way it's being told right now. But yeah, I mean, you're right though, lady. Disney would never attempted this 10 years ago. Not this way.
They've slowly, and like Laney said, they've slowly have been walking into this content. They did it with Werewolf by Night by showing it in black and white, which was a great move, by the way.
Yep.
And then they said, okay, now let's go ahead and show it in color. And let's get away with the blood splatter. And then Deadpool and Wolverine drop. And then next, they're slowly walking into it, saying, we can't do this. Even with Falcon and Winter Soldier, there's a scene with John Walker that was very brutal.
That was crazy.
And it was great. It was great camera work how they played it.
Right.
But once again, they had to walk it in very slowly, because it was like, all right, this is territory we normally don't swim in. Let's
still watching this.
Yeah, let's be careful how we do this. So I'm glad that they went this route. I'm glad that they're taking the time. I'm glad that when they said Charlie Cox, and I'm like, all right, you're starting off strong, because you're going back, you're getting what you need to get. You're not starting over. They even said that the script that they previously had was not it wasn't continuing from what we knew. I'm glad they went back and said, you know what? No, we need to do this right. We need to do this story correct.
That was a lot of fight too, because no one's actually said it, but you can tell in interviews where it's like, well, we saw the original story and there were some and everybody had that same look on their face. Hesitations. That goes to show you that the decisions that were made at that time were not of the showrunner. And again, this is where I think that Hollywood execs stick their heads in and say, no, we're gonna do it this way. When I'm like, the Daredevil run that you have from Netflix was a perfect still send off. Yes, you can do a time skip to where Fisk is mayor. Yes, you can do it. Yes, you can, change it to where post the war with the Hand, where Daredevil is, where Matt has
Shadowland. Yeah, the Shadowland.
Yeah, Shadowland. You can do that. You can do that because it works. So really, I don't know who. I don't know if somebody. I don't know if somebody got threatened. I don't know if somebody that has some more juice stepped in. Whoever it is, we thank you. But yeah, this is a perfect example of, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Don't try to outdo it. Yeah. The sauce is perfect. Let it cook.
That's it. They managed to do it, and this looks good. So
they changed courses right around the time Jimmy Gunn got hired.
Oh well, they that might Marvel messed up. It's like, why we let him go again? Because DC was like that. DC was like that one girl that saw old boy get burned, and it's like, I can love you, right? You just don't pay attention to me enough. That's what DC did. DC said, I can treat you, I can give you everything you asked for, but you never looked my way. And Gunn was like, okay. And Marvel was like, shit.
The grass looks like it might be a little greener. So March 4th is when Daredevil Born Again drops. Go check that out on the Marvel Entertainment YouTube channel. That looks amazing. We will be seeing you guys very soon. We come back in February, full speed.
Yep.
We come back full speed. And we will be talking about all the great nerdy stuff that we all like to talk about and much more. So until then, I am your host. I am your captain. I am the man of the on the wall, Chris Fury. This is Black Spartan. Check him out. This is Lainey of Geek by Heart. Check her out. We will see you soon. Remember to educate yourself and others, entertain yourself and others, and most of all, encourage yourself and others. We're out. We will see you guys very, very soon.
Peace.